My name is Troy Henry. Some of you may know who I am, some of you may not know my background. So I want to kind of give you a little bit of a backdrop to why we're here. Obviously, water management and water and wastewater and stormwater management has been a very, very critical topic that is here in New Orleans today. So I want to kind of take you through a little bit of, first of all, who I am, so you have an understanding of why I feel uniquely qualified to discuss the actions that I'm asking for today. I'm born and raised here in New Orleans. I went to high school right up the street there, about 4 blocks, St. Augustine High School. I went to Stanford University and got a degree in engineering, and then 2 master's degrees from Carnegie Mellon University in engineering. I spent a number of years designing mission-critical medical devices for Hewlett-Packard. I then worked for IBM Federal Systems, designing fault-tolerant, mission-critical solutions for Los Angeles-class attack submarines. Then later with IBM, I ran global service, the portion of IBM Global Services where we required high availability, fault-tolerant systems for healthcare, pharmaceutical, and insurance industries. I later worked for EES and delivered critical industrial power system solutions to Fortune companies throughout this nation and throughout the world. I then took over as president of United Water and ran water and wastewater management systems throughout the country today. I'm also, as a native New Orleanian, I'm a business owner today, and I am also a flood victim. And I'm a victim of a flood because of pure, unadulterated mismanagement associated with the management of the Sewage and Water Board. And I want to talk a little bit about that today. Many of you already know management of the Sewage and Water Board is already under consent order. That is not a badge of honor. That is a badge of dysfunctionality. Currently, unaccounted for water approaches over 40%. So that means of the water that is treated today, over 40% of it, they cannot account for where it goes. Stormwater management, of the 4 systems that you have in a water system, stormwater management is the simplest of them. You have metering, stormwater management, wastewater, and you have water. It is the simplest of them. So it gives us immediate pause that if the simplest one doesn't work, what's the status of the most complicated of those? We all have heard the story that no overtime was allowed to work for catch basin cleaning, and as a result, it was contracted out in many cases for a premium price. It's unacceptable. Then I was told that now that there's a catch basin company that wanted to do the work, was lined up to do the work, and they were told don't do the work. We currently have no plan for a 25-cycle power migration to another source of power. That is unacceptable. 25-cycle power went out over almost 100 years ago here in the United States. Every single organization in America today uses 60-cycle power. Okay? So we are like Cuba. If you see all of those cars running around, they're 1950 vintage ones, we're like that because you don't have the parts now to maintain it. So we have a machine shop that has to try and manufacture and maintain the parts so that we can manage this power system that we have today. It is completely outdated and it is completely antiquated. Expedited work is now being done and it is costing the citizens of New Orleans a premium. This flood was due completely to mismanagement. Let me elaborate. And this root cause analysis that now the mayor is asked to do, I can save the city $500,000. The basis of this was incompetent negligence. The root cause analysis contracting is all about shielding blame and trying to assign blame to some other individuals in an organization when it truly, truly starts at the top. Every aspect of the sewage and water system today is undermanaged, and now HUD has indicated that we're not even spending the money that they've given to us. It's absolutely unacceptable. 7 years of leadership under this mayor, and he's devastated this organization. A good executive inspects and investigates every aspect of an operation. Employee morale is very, very low. at the Sewage and Water Board. There are over 300 vacant positions today at the Sewage and Water Board, and in a city that has over 40% African American male unemployment, it is unacceptable. And these aren't all high-tech jobs. I understand what it takes to, it's putting guys and training guys how to shore up and get in a hole and fix something. And for those positions to be vacant, it is absolutely negligence. So either we have a leader that is naive or negligent. They can pick their poison. I want to talk a little bit about what this means for the residents of New Orleans. Today, we've been treated like walking ATM machines. Always, the city government has been looking for a way to get more and more money out of us. And the root cause of the challenges today and the source of the cancer in the Sewage and Water Board today lays at the feet of one individual, and that is the mayor, Mitch Landrieu. And let me elaborate on that. He handpicked a set of board members with no industry qualifications to sit on the board of a sewer and water system. Okay? Then he put on a ruse of a national search to hire an individual that had no qualifications for the job. Cedric Grant is a friend of mine. Cedric Grant used to work for me. The last time he worked in the water industry, he worked for me. Okay? In an administrative position, not an operational position. Okay? So to now put an individual like that in charge of an operational matter is absolutely ridiculous. What has happened as a result of that, the confidence of the employees say, it has now begun a culture and seeded a culture of dishonesty and deceit. Because when the mayor represents that it's going to be the best qualified individual running the job, and he passes over qualified individuals, what it tells the employees of that organization today is that, you know what, he's a liar. And it basically annihilates morale in the city or this organization. He has single-handedly destabilized the Sewage and Water Board organization today. And it's cost also the professional career here in New Orleans of a competent Sewage and Water Board employee, Robert Miller, who has vast number of years of Sewer and Water Board executive management experience, who also, by the way, interviewed for the job. I believe this is grounds for immediate dismissal, for unacceptable results, and deception on behalf of the mayor. If he's got time to go to Aspen, he should have time to oversee and ensure that the Sewer and Water Board is managed properly in the city of New Orleans. Now, I want to talk a little bit about solutions, because I believe that there are solutions here. And I want to first preface to say, this is not about privatization. This is about performance. This is about the ability to execute on behalf of the citizens of New Orleans. Public service should be the sole motivation for being in office. I want to talk about some structural things that I believe need to occur immediately. And the first is I am requesting that the mayor step down as president immediately from the Sewer and Water Board. He is the source of the cancer. You cannot have the source of the cancer cure the cancer. Replace him with an industry knowledgeable president pro tem. Add competent professionals who have industry knowledge to the Sewer and Water Board, and not just additional political people. I heard some of the names that they want to add to the Sewer and Water Board. None of them have any experience in this business at all. Hire a real-time executive, a real executive, I should say, with obviously management experience in managing sewer and water systems. If he doesn't, in May when I'm elected, I guarantee you I will. The city council should become a real regulator, okay? They have the regulatory authority to manage and to oversee all utilities in the city of New Orleans, water included. Just because it is municipally run does not mean that they have a right to abdicate their authority as the regulator. which means they can put in place service level agreements, and they can also obviously manage rates, which means you manage the funding associated with the organization. And I'm a believer in performance management. So I would highly recommend that they put in place a performance management system. When I was president of United Water, and many of you know, I ran water systems all over the country. Jacksonville, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Laredo, Texas, a number of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. We used a red-green system, red, yellow, green system. There were functioning elements that were green, maintenance-based elements that were yellow, and things that are out of service that were red. And every day, although I had systems all across the country, I could look at my dashboard and I could tell you to the minute what was working and not working in every single system that I was managing throughout this country. And they can't do that for one system today. They can't even tell you how many pumps are working. When it comes to technology, there's some technical initiatives that also need to be addressed. They need to begin to deploy automated meter reading. It's a revenue enhancement for the city, and it is an accuracy matter for residents today. It's a 20-plus-year-old technology that we don't deploy today. We still use a sneaker network where folks are going around today, reading meters. Commit to an engineering migration away from 25-cycle power. That is an expensive process. It is a technological process, but it has to be done. You cannot stay as Cuba in this manner forever. You can use fault-tolerant, multi-fuel solutions as a basis for your fault-tolerant systems today. I am an engineer, okay? Consistently clean the catch basins. That sounds pretty basic, but consistently, not once every 15 years as they have on their program. They had 3 trucks, 68,000. At their productivity rates, they were cleaning them once every 15 years. And you have to over-maintain the low-lying areas. That's basics of the industry today. Do real-time water quality testing. We have a lead problem. We need to understand the magnitude of water quality lead problem in our water. Implement immediately a barrel aging management system. We all see Sewage and Water Board orange barrels all over this city. Most cities, 21 days of barrels, anything beyond that is unacceptable. We have barrels that have been in place for years. Implement a leak tracking system. When we had a huge leak problem in Atlanta, we asked the public, report every single leak that you can to us so we could address them. We did a zone sector approach, and we went after and attacked leaks every single place we found them. It needs to be done here. Now, what are some of the other things that need to be done? From a political standpoint, I think it's pretty clear. Of the candidates running for mayor today, there is only one that has the experience of running a large, complex organizations as we have today. I have the experience also in implementing performance management and accountability systems, which is what the public demands. We will implement best practice approaches to management. On-the-job training is a very, very costly provision. And if we have people that are learning on the job, this is what you get. If we want government to be of the people and not working on the people's nerves, there's really only one answer, and that's Troy Henry for mayor. Now, I don't have any of these alphabet soup organizations or the Blue Bloods uptown supporting me. What I have is a resume, a track record, and experience to do the job. Because I won't do deals where I got to promise a bunch of people a lot of stuff in order to get elected. I believe the people want good government and they want accountable government. And that's why I'm running today. Thank you. If you got any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Yeah, these changes that you're talking about,
Yes.
why do you think they're so important for the city and for residents?
You got to cut out the cancer. We have a cancer that has generated and has festered inside of the bodies of this organization. And if you don't cut it out, it's going to stay. You can't expect the cancer to cure itself. And the source of the cancer starts at the top, and that has emanated down to the organization throughout. So you have to start at the top. If you want a performing organization, if you want more dysfunctionality, the definition of insanity is allowing the same person to do more and more stuff over and over again and expecting something different to happen. Okay?
Now, initially, Cedric Grant said that flooding is something that we may have to look into.
That's baloney. That's a person that doesn't understand the nature of the water business. Okay? We're unique in some aspects, but we're not the only place in the universe that has rain. Okay? As far as I know, we're not. Other cities can manage rain, and we've managed rain previously. What we need is leadership. And if you have people that don't know how to manage it, then it becomes overwhelming to them. You see, people that don't understand how to do something do dumb things and say dumb things. Okay? But people that do know how to do things and have the experience at doing something, I can speak from basic knowledge of what has been done in the past and industries throughout this country. And so I don't have to go to hire a consultant to tell me to go to the bathroom or to do the basics that it takes. I didn't hire anybody to write these recommendations for me. I know it because I live it, and it's what I do. I solve problems. I'm an engineer. I'm an executive. It's what I've done my career. It's the reason that I've been successful now as a business owner. Okay? It's what I do. Yes. 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 Well, listen, it's the same organization that's managing. The simplest part of this solution today is the stormwater management, drainage. It's the simplest part. It's all passive, not chemically treated. There's nothing, you got a catch basin, drains, goes to a pump, bam, and you're done. That's the simplest part. Drinking water requires treatment, pre-treatment, pressure. You've got pipes that also now you've got EPA requirements. We've got lead initiatives. We've got a whole host of technical challenges that go along with managing a water system. Okay? And if you're not managing the simplest part well, what do you think is going on in the more complicated parts? Like mine. I want them to know the help is on the way in the name of Troy Henry, first of all. I want them to also know that we believe, and I hope that Mitch Landry will adhere to what we're requesting of him, and help can be really on the way even before I get into office. That's what I'd like for them to know. Otherwise, if you're expecting this team that is in place today to solve the same problem that it took them 7 years to create, it's a folly. It's a folly. It's not going to happen. I just gave you the root cause analysis already. $7 million to give back to the Raiders, you said? Oh, yeah. Right. They don't have a solution. When you don't have a solution, you're just grabbing for straws. You know what I mean? Because they neglected things, and now they're exposed during the most critical time when you didn't make sure that your systems that should have been available were available in the most critical time. You're desperate. And so now you're just trying anything and everything, and you use a bunch of buzzwords and you expect to impress most citizens. Well, I ain't impressed. Okay?
Sounds like you share a lot of the frustrations that residents have.
Well, my business just flooded. I was 2 weeks away from opening up my business on Tulane and Jeff Davis, and it flooded and delayed my opening. Okay? So I'm frustrated, just like these other residents are frustrated, and they're tired of the mediocrity that we see today. They're tired of barrels staying in the street forever. Every one of you here could tell somebody you know where a leak is and it's been leaking for months or years. And it's nothing been done about it. And that's my frustration, and that's the frustration of the residents of the city of New Orleans. And that's why I'm running, and we need to do something about it even before I take office in May. Well, I think if I didn't sit on the Sewage and Water Board, it would be a disservice to the citizens because of my expertise. Okay? So in my case, absolutely I believe I should. But I tell you what, I would hire competent professionals as well. I would also have a board that was made up of individuals with that level of expertise. So it's going to be level of peers on the board when I'm at Sewage and Water, when I'm the president of the Sewage and Water Board, not cronies. And listen, by the way, the shield of hiding behind these university presidents to nominate somebody, last time I checked, none of these university presidents have ever run a municipal operation. Okay? So to think that all of a sudden they've got some divine wisdom that gives them the knowledge and ability to appoint people or even have the industry knowledge and expertise and the access to know who to pick and put on the board is a fantasy. Can't hurt. Can't hurt. Truth, if people have done things right and for the right reasons, why not? But if there are other agendas going on, let the feds figure it out.
Well, thank you all for coming out. It's the end of the press conference. Thank you, Mr. Henry. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Hopefully we'll see this on tonight's news, 4, 6, and 8.